and welcome back to A Better World. This is your host, Mitchell J. Rabin, and we're very glad you're joining us again today. Today we are on location in Mother India. A Better World has come here to the Golden Age Foundation in Golden City, just outside of Madras, Chennai, in order to learn more about this rather fabulous phenomenon that is happening here, which involves really the basis of all spirituality and really all, you could say, human longing, which is the search and wish for enlightenment. That is, to know all things, to understand, to relate, to be connected to the truth and to the oneness of all of life, to divinity itself. Well, the reason we came here is because we have heard of a particular being here, Kalki, known as Bhagavan, who is bringing people to a place of their own awakening. I know this sounds phenomenal. There have been teachers for many hundreds and thousands of years who have spoken about this, but have actually not done it. This was compelling enough for me to want to come here and explore and find out for myself and for you what the truth is of the situation. We've been here now for a little bit of time and are meeting some wonderful people, a number of disciples, in fact, that Bhagavan has worked with over the course of many years, and are here. We'll be interviewing them, and you'll get to hear with your own ears and see with your own eyes just what is going on. So we're very glad to be here ourselves, and very glad that you'll be having a chance to, back in the United States, see what's going on here in what we think may be one of the largest revolutions that this planet has seen. So Tapasya, you have been here for how long now?
8 years.
8 years. We are speaking with another Dasaji who is here, and she'll be sharing with us her experience of the Golden Age Foundation in Kalki. And what brought you here in the first place? Of all the things to do with your life, why would you come here?
I was a person who never believed in God. I was a complete atheist, and I lived by the mind. And
where in India were you raised?
I was in Bombay. I was a medical student. It's my second year of medicine, and I used to criticize anybody who was religious. I would almost hate God, and I think it's because when I was very young, my father died, and I blamed God for it. I couldn't understand why a small child has to be deprived of this, and I thought God was responsible. And all my life I can see that there was one seeking inside. I used to seek for unconditional love. I didn't believe in the love that I saw around me. I thought this is not love. There is something else. There's something deeper. And when I was 17, a family friend, she told me about Kalki. And it happened as we were walking on the road. And she said, why don't you come and see his picture? You will know who he really is. And I went to her house and she showed me a photograph of Kalki. We call the photographer Sri Murti because it is impregnated with Kalki's consciousness. Sri Murti is alive. You can almost say Kalki is there actually. And the first time I saw the Sri Murti, I was just looking at it, and suddenly, with my open eyes and seeing a light emerging from the Sri Murti, and it enters into me and comes here. And when the light came here, I heard a voice, and the voice said, I am the one whom you've been seeking for eons together. And when I heard that, I started weeping, because there was a tremendous surge of love inside. There was a burst of love coming inside, as though I've never experienced such love in my life. It was as though every cell in my body was suffused with that love. And that state continued for almost 4 days. And in the presence of that love, I underwent some kind of a regression or a life review, where I saw my entire life flashing in front of me. I saw the pain that I had undergone in my life. I saw the pain that I had suppressed inside me because of my relationships with my brother, with my mother, and the pain of my father. And as the pain was flashing, I was seeing the pain getting resolved and healed. And after 4 days, I entered into a state of euphoria, which lasted again for about 15 to 20 days. I was feeling as I'm floating in the air. I was feeling love for everything around me. I was feeling joy about everything that's happening. There was just no pain inside. I would see a broomstick and I would feel love. I would see an ill dog and I would feel love. To something like that. And during this entire period, there was only one thing which was coming to me again and again, that you must help people get into this. This voice was saying that you must do service. And I knew, at that time I didn't even knew that there's something called Dasajis or disciples. But this was there inside, that I have to do this. And I went and spoke to the disciples of Kalki and they said, yes, you can come. So I became a Dasa and I'm serving the Lord today.
Now, at the time this all happened, you were a medical student.
Yes.
So you had to pull yourself out of that situation.
Yes.
You wanted to be a doctor.
Yes,
Is
I
that
wanted
true?
to be that, but then when I saw this, I clearly saw this being the purpose of my life, because I was also revealed my past lives, and I saw the purpose of this life, and I saw this is what it's going to be all about. It was all done mystically. It was revealed mystically to me.
Yes. But prior to that, you had felt that the purpose of your life was to be a doctor.
Yes.
And to heal people.
I
to help
can't
people.
say I had felt it was the purpose of my life. I had a desire to do that and I was doing it. But today I can say even doing that was not giving me so much of joy as such.
I understand.
It wasn't.
I just wanted to clarify that you had come from at least some sense of purpose
Definitely.
to what you felt was a much clearer sense of purpose.
In fact, I knew this is the purpose. It was not vague for me.
It wasn't a question.
It
It
was very
wasn't
clear
like...
that this is what I'm supposed to do. This is what I'm meant to do.
Okay, very good. Okay. This is an interesting distinction for people because some people say, well, I think maybe I'll be a doctor, or maybe I'll be a lawyer, or maybe I'll be an engineer, or maybe I'll be a scientist, or maybe I'll be an artist. All of them appeal to me. But what mood am I in? You know, that's one frame of mind that's very typical and common.
Yes.
It's another thing to feel a clarity about, it's not a question of even what I choose. This is what is meant. It's a very different place to come from.
Yes. In fact, before knowing Kalki, it was very vague. I was not really clear. Okay, I chose this because I thought this was the best thing I could do. But then, after the experience happened, it was very clear to me.
Right. And you've been here ever since?
Yes.
Wow.
And I know this is what it is because there's a joy inside.
Right.
When I speak to somebody, there is joy. I would have spoken to thousands of people, but not even once have I not felt that joy. I would have conducted hundreds of discourses, but not even once did I feel that this is not joyful for me. Every time it has given me joy. Every time it has filled me with love.
And so your experience inside yourself here, does it become more meaningful and more joyous?
Yes, every day it is becoming more meaningful. Because I'm not just seeing it from a limited perspective of me alone here. I'm seeing it from a very broad perspective. I'm seeing the work that I'm doing and the work that other people are doing here. It's leading to a very great destiny for this whole planet. I can see Bhagavan's destiny, I can see Bhagavan's vision unfolding in front of me as I'm doing this work. As I'm helping people in the enlightenment process, I can see the destiny of this planet changing. It's clear to me, it is not vague. That's why every day is more beautiful.
Do you see the life of people changing around, let's just say, in the local villages near here? Do you see the life of people changing?
I have not really visited the local villages, but I have heard of some people, I have met some people, and I know, yes, it is changing. And also the work that we are doing here, it's very magnificent work. Bhagavan is giving enlightenment to all the villages around here.
Oh, yes.
Yes, and just recently we did a batch of 500 people, and almost everybody became enlightened. And I clearly know that every family is so happy today. People don't fight. People don't beat their wives. People aren't addicted to alcohol. They keep the village clean and neat, which is very difficult in India to find.
Yes.
And there are very little vices. Children are becoming more intelligent. Children are becoming happier. Children are discovering their destinies at a very young age, and they're working towards fulfilling it. That is happening in these villages.
There's parenting.
Yes, our movement, the Golden Age Foundation, covers various aspects of human life itself.
Right.
We have courses which deal with relationships. We help people to build up better relationships. We teach parenting. Our parenting program is called Srishti. Srishti means creation. So we help you and teach you how to create a new human being. We also help women to empower themselves, because women around the world have been feeling suppressed for long. And a lot of feminist movements are rising everywhere. But then that's not the real solution. Women must become empowered from within.
Sure.
Also, prior to coming here, I have worked in many major cities of India, like Bombay, Ahmedabad, Pune, Delhi, Chandigarh. And in all those places, Bhagwan's presence has made a remarkable change in the lives of people. In the metros especially, the lives of people are filled with stress. It's filled with tension, and the first reflection is on the relationships. At least in villages, you could find people being happy in their families, not in the cities. And Bhagwan's presence has made a very clear change in those people's lives. Stress levels have gone down drastically.
Now, you know, you live in India. You know that there have been hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of teachers for hundreds and thousands of years. But let's stay contemporary. There are teachers that have large followings in the West, in Europe and America, who attract thousands and thousands of followers.
Yes.
And they build hospitals and they build universities. Here in India, they fund water projects, bringing clean water to thousands of villages.
Yes.
You know, I don't know if you know the specifics, but
Yes,
indeed, there are, and they have followers sometimes in the millions
Yes.
from all over. What is the difference in your mind between, or in your knowledge, between what is going on there and making a difference in people's lives?
Yes.
Because they are. And what's going on here? If there's any comment that you can make.
There's one thing which is very clear, and that is...
And I'm not trying to set this up in
Yes.
a competitive mode. That's
No,
not it.
no, it's not
just,
like that.
Kalki may be the only, I mean, based on what you said, Kalki was your teacher from the beginning.
Yes.
And you did not know of the other choices.
Yes.
And this is where you came, and all is well. God bless.
No, but I was
There are others
exposed
who
to
know
various
others.
teachers even before. My
Okay.
mother was a deeply religious person, and she used to go to everybody. So
Okay.
I am very exposed to other people around.
I see.
I come from a very orthodox Hindu family. I'm very exposed to religion also. I'm exposed to our scriptures also. So I had a good idea.
I
But
see.
what I clearly know is that all the other teachers, they speak about the enlightened state. Kalki is somebody who gives enlightenment. That is the only difference I can speak of.
I see. Okay.
They speak about the state. They expound on the state. They explain what the state is. But
They don't give it to you. They don't give it
Kalki
to
can
you.
give it.
They discuss it.
Yes.
I see. I would say that's a major difference.
Definitely.
Major difference.
Yes.
Well, wonderful. I truly thank you very much. I'll ask you also, if you would, comments that you would like to make perhaps to the audience, that something from your heart that you feel people should know in the West about what's going on here.
I have only one thing to say to people in the West, and that is, if you really want to make this world a beautiful place to live in, if you want to make this a place, a very wonderful place, a happy place to bring your children into, if you really want to come out of your suffering and pain, and the only way for that is enlightenment. A state where you feel one with everything. There is no division, there is no conflict, there is no pain. There is just happiness, silence and joy. And it is something which is very easily accessible to all of you by Kalki's and Amma's grace. You must come here, receive this, and you will see the difference for yourself.
Namaste. Peace.
Shri Bhagavate
We are now seated with Radhika, who has been a disciple and is a disciple here at the Golden Age Foundation with Kalki. And we're very pleased to have you with us today.
Namaste.
Namaste. Thank you for sitting with us and
Thank you.
talking. How long have you been here?
I've been here since 92.
92.
Yes.
My word, my word. What is it that inspired you to come here in the first place, Radhika?
When I met Aman Bhagwan for the first time, I was deeply touched because Bhagwan was so concerned about human suffering, and Bhagwan would do anything like healing physical ailments, completely curing off anybody from their depressions, and awaken a lot of love in the family. Father, mother and children, everybody would come very close to each other. Forgiveness was a happening. And
In families?
Yes, yes.
When
And
they were in his presence?
after they came in touch with his movement, every day used to be like this. I could see that there were less and less of condemnation and judgments towards in between two people. And I knew this is how a family will be very happy. So I personally liked Amma and Bhagwan. That is how I got introduced here.
I see. You saw this happening, this phenomenon happening.
Yes.
Of families coming together, of
My own family also.
your own family.
Yeah.
Ah, of course. That's so important.
Yes.
You know, it's so
Yes.
personal,
Yes.
you know.
Yes.
And you've seen that happening in 1992. You've been here for some years.
Yes.
You've seen that happening over and
Yes.
over again, that
Yes.
same kind of thing,
Yeah.
as well as physical healing.
Yes. Lot of them. Hundreds of them.
Hundreds of them.
Yeah.
Have you seen other teachers in India do that with their students or followers?
My
You've heard of
father is my father used to practice transcendental meditation for over 21 years. And he and his friends were very committed to a movement there.
Yeah.
I have been to that ashram also. What maximum I have seen there is they teach you a mantra and you will have to practice it for so many years. There is a probability you might have a mystical experience. I haven't seen families love and accept each other so wonderful as I have seen it here. Here the speed is tremendous. Certain retreats which Bhagwan asked all the dasas to conduct, in those retreats thousands of people had come to set right their relationship with their families and to awaken love in their hearts. Bhagwan just took one day. The speed is tremendous, unbelievable,
Yeah.
yet it happens.
And you've seen the physical healings as well,
Yeah,
Radhika.
yes.
Could you share with the audience a few?
Recently, 3 days ago, I was there in the Mukti Diksha that took place in the campus nearby here. And there were 13 miracles that happened on the same evening. One miracle was, there was a person,
Could you explain to the audience what a diksha is?
I would. So first there was a person who could not speak. He has never spoken. But all these years he's been hearing little of what the language is. And
once he came to the Diksha here, in the evening, all of a sudden, he just spoke the sentence. He told, I have never spoken, but now I am speaking little. He spoke this over the mic. There was so much of joy amidst the whole crowd, and behind near the wall, there was one old lady. She was standing next to her son. The son has not walked from his childhood. So he was sitting on a wheelchair, and the mother sighed one of the dasas, telling, I think my son would require another Diksha. When Bhagwan could make that man speak, I want even my child to become all right.
How old was the child?
He must be around 30, 35.
Oh.
Yes.
And he's
So-
never walked?
No. When he was small, he had walked. Later, he didn't. I don't know what's the reason. I was a witness there. So, the mother just sighed this to the Dasaji there, and she was just expressing her emotion that she wanted her son also to walk. Nobody noticed what was going on to the son. There was so much of cheers appreciating the man who was speaking there. And this person who was sitting on the wheelchair spontaneously got up. It was unbelievable. He spontaneously got up. It was as if there was a great energy that lifted him. Then he took the support of another person there. He walked just like that. It was, everybody felt so joyous. So they all were screaming, Bhagwan, it is unbelievable, so powerful, you've done it, you've done it. As this was going on, there were a lot of them shouting from the other side. Other side. It seems there was another person who could not walk. As this miracle happened, something got connected there, that man started walking. There were 13 miracles on the same evening. Aman Bhagavan have made miracles happen like coincidences. The moment their hearts are touched, Bhagavan Namas, a miracle becomes common there. I've seen it many times.
It's remarkable.
We all are his work, his miracles.
Yes, indeed. Wow. And so you have seen this kind of thing
Yes.
over and again
Yeah.
over these years.
Yeah.
And you two have become enlightened as well.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yes.
Could you describe a little bit about what that state is like for you?
Okay. I most of the time experiencing lot of joy. It is so much of freedom, and if somebody earlier was in a prison and if the person is relieved, the first time he experienced that relief, how it would be, this is there every moment for me. And I am very spontaneous. That is, there are no worries or thoughts about what is next. Everything is happening on its own. Now that I have to talk to you, I feel so joyous because I am witnessing the answers come out. I can say earlier there was a feeling of somebody being here, a person being here, and a trial to control something, a trial to change something or the other. But now it is so beautiful. It is the tree in front of me. I feel that is joy. The breeze and me, we are flowing together. It is all so perfect. It is so beautiful. If there is a job assigned to me, then from within, one might call it awareness or consciousness or witness. That is what I am. It will respond to the job also in a very wonderful way. When it comes to functionality, seeing the files, it is very joyous. It is so fulfilling. Talking to people, it doesn't involve any effort. There is no strain. There is no separation. It is so simple and beautiful now. Everything is joyous.
Is that the way it is for you every single day and night? Does it occur in waves?
Most of the time, if somebody will wake me in the night, then what the experience is laughter. Laugh. Then comes the memory or the identification of body or the room. 5 to 6 days, I can say, I name myself as joy because I don't feel I'm experiencing joy. I feel I am joy. Everything around me is joy. Now, on the 6th day, probably it all becomes peace. It's very calm. Energies are same. It is as if the energy is just lying down. It's calm and still. But you can't predict. After some time, anything can trigger off the joy again. It will come. It is irreversible. Bhagwan gave us the state probably some months ago. It was very strong. Until now, it has been a permanent and irreversible state. Yes.
Until now?
Yes.
Since then?
Yes.
And
Since then.
continues? And continues?
Yes. Yes.
And prior to that, it would happen more yes and no, and it would come and go?
No. Prior to enlightenment, clearly there was the feeling of the self. Now I know.
As you knew yourself for all these years?
Yes. There is somebody here constantly struggling, constantly trying to set right thoughts, constantly trying to keep up some image. These things were on. It was never off. I never had on and off. It was always there. There was frustration, there was fear. If it would come, then all efforts will come to hide that fear, hide that frustration, to be something, to project something which I am not. All that was struggle. But when Bhagwan gave the Diksha, after the Diksha, it is a total transfer.
Transformation.
Yeah. But everybody must actually experience this state. I feel I'm living only now. Bhagwan has made me live life now. Yes, he's made me walk. I know now I'm actually experiencing the sunlight. There are no interventions, there are no comments which come and corrupt the experience, no. Oh, it's so beautiful. It is very beautiful. Bhagavan has made me eat. The moment I lift a spoon of curd and put it in my mouth, I laugh, enjoy, then again I drink it. It gives me energy, the energy becomes joy. But in case I have to attend a work, then it flows in such a way that I can manage my work also and also doing this.
One is speechless. It's
Yes.
so beautiful.
You don't need to change your lifestyle. It's not that only in a serene atmosphere like this where you are not expected to commit yourself to any project, then it is easy to experience this state. No. The state is supreme intelligence is controlling the state. Wherever you are, the state will make you experience everything.
So you become, in a sense, would you say, super sensitized to your own body as well as to the outside world?
I don't know if it is super sensitized, but when it comes to the body, I now know my mind is not suppressing my body. The body is independent on its own. When it wants to walk, it walks. When it wants to smile, the body smiles. And most of the time, consciousness is in an expanse. So I don't feel body. The body is separate.
But you're experiencing the world around you through your body, through touch, through sight, through sounds,
Yes.
through taste.
Yes. Every sensory perception has become more acute.
That's what I was kind
There's
of...
a lot of enormity
referring
in it now.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
Yes. And you've been here for since 92. And this state, the permanent nature of the state, has come to you through Bhagavan a few months ago.
Yeah.
And until then, how would you describe? There was still a sense of self.
Yes. I came to help the movement in 95. From then on until enlightenment, Bhagavan's teachings were so powerful that every insight that came into us because of Bhagavan's words, that insight had improved my contemplation about my own mind so much that I would be able to see the pain as it comes and experience it. Or if there is some emotion like fear or stress, then I could manage it. Self, yes, though it is a clear illusion, then I used to feel it as concrete. Yes. But Bhagavan gives the state at the right time. I knew I had to undergo looking into myself before getting the state. So it took some time. But these days, any seeker who comes here for enlightenment, the Diksha is given to him and it's all over within some minutes. Yes.
So much for waiting for years, huh? Now minutes.
Yes. Bhagwan always mentions that man has waited long and enough.
Yes, we've waited
It's
long enough.
already now.
Yes, right. Time is collapsing,
Yes.
right. Is there a last word that you would like to share, perhaps, with our audience about yourself or about enlightenment or the work of the Golden Age Foundation?
I know you are also waiting to experience joy and you want to be free, not bound by any unpleasant experience or so. And my feeling is you would come to India and see Bhagwan's Diksha and become enlightened. You will enjoy everything that you are doing. That's all.
Wonderful. Radhika, I want to thank you
Thank you.
very much
Thank
for
you.
sharing with us
Yes.
and for your own presence. Very, very, so beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you.
I have been in India for the past few weeks at the Golden Age Foundation, here not far from Chennai, Madras. And we've been interviewing a series of people. Many of them are dasas, that means servants of the Lord. And they are working closely with Kalki in bringing about the ripening, the flowering of the vision, which is an enlightened world. You have also had a chance to hear them speak about their own personal experience and their changes that have happened as a result of them passing through the Diksha, or the enlightenment process that is offered by Bhagavan. You've also had a chance to hear speak several people from the world at large, from different countries, men and women who have heard about what is going on here, this phenomenon, and who were interested enough to get themselves to India, no matter what the time or expense, and to experience themselves this experience, the Diksha process, the enlightenment 5-day process. You've seen some of them before and after. I can only tell you that there is something going on here, the likes of which I have never come across before. I have been with a number of different spiritual teachers, masters, and yogis across the world over the past many, many years, well over a decade. And never before have I sensed the presence of one who is wholly committed to changing the world, one by one, person by person, so that we can truly have a better world. Now, the nature of this change is also what is most deeply offered and promised through all the sacred teachings throughout history. This idea of a human being coming into their fullness of total awakening to the being that they truly are, connected to all beings, connected to all of life, without any sense of separation. Meaning, no overriding ego, no overriding self, which has as its business the separation and distinction of one from another, leading to comparison, leading to critique, leading to judgment, ultimately leading to conflict, lots of stress, and war. And that, of course, is what our history is marked by. As far as I know, for the first time in at least recorded history, a phenomenon is taking place, is arising here in South India, where a man totally dedicated to this cause from an early age, who came into this life awakened, is committed to bringing about this change on the planet. You know, we negotiate peace, we sign treaties, we make laws and regulations and rules about how companies and corporations can conduct business in different parts of the world and how they will interact with the environment and put regulations on this, etc., etc., etc. We have so many rules, regulations, and laws that are there to protect the interests of the many from perhaps the greedy interests of the few. However, time and time again, it is shown that these laws are only as good as the people who are willing to stand by them and to enforce them. Or people, short of any laws, rules, or regulations, who are, because of what is said to them in their own hearts, interested in being in harmony with the environment and with other human beings, and by that choice do not harm and force destruction on others or the environment. For the first time, it looks like the real way to avoid any such conflict or question of conflict is if there is no ego overriding the human personality at all, where there is a sense that the ancient teachings have talked about for millennia of no self is just not there. The connection to all life is wholly there. And in that way, we are inherently, biologically, organically, in a sense, protected from doing harm to others because we feel all life outside of us as us. It's this phenomenon that I am witnessing occurring here at Golden City under the guidance of Kalki. Now it's interesting, Kalki doesn't see himself essentially as a teacher, but really rather as a doctor. And he is here to heal the ills of the planet, the confusion, the ignorance, the uncertainty, the conflict, the stress, the being caught in duality. All of these things are within this doctor's auspices, interestingly enough. And it's for this reason that I felt drawn to come here and to be of service in this way, to bring the messages of the Dasajis and of Kalki himself to my audience through a better world. So I hope that you can take this information, this experience, this direct experience of the words of the Dasas and other people who have been here, absorb some of the imagery of this very special and holy place, and see that there is some promise for a world that works in harmony, where love becomes the way of life rather than the exception. So on that note, I want to just thank you all for being here and absorbing what it is I've had to present. And I do hope that it helps to enrich and uplift your life and inform it in a way that perhaps it's not been informed before. God bless. Thanks so much for joining us, and I'll see you next week.